Hey everybody, Truth Dog here, internet's favorite dog, back at it with another crazy video. This is a comment I got the other day by Mad Art 44. They say the second looks like Michael J. Fox. Who they're referring to is this character, T. Martin, who I pointed out is most likely a reptilian shapeshifter using some sort of hologram technology, creator class video game CGI thing to appear human. Now, me being naive and simping for celebrities as usual, I said, I can see it, but I think Fox is a better guy. Things like Parkinson's generally don't happen to bad people. Then I got this reply from Nouse. It has been proven by Dave J that Fox, which is 666 in Gematria, is putting it on. He/she is just playing people for fools. That 666 thing checks out because, of course, the Fox network, you know, that's probably why they're called Fox. I also remember at one point the Fox network had a advertising campaign where they were saying, Fox, it's the boom. And also apparently boom is 666 in Gematria. Might also be why they have a boom microphone every time they make a TV series. Anyway, so I said, that's interesting. I ended up looking at checking out the link that they were talking about, so I'll show that next. I said, reminds me of how Christopher Reeve ended up paralyzed. We'll also get to that. So let's go to the first example. Michael J. Fox impersonating somebody with Parkinson's disease.
It was a film that helped define the 1980s and made Michael J. Fox a star. More hit movies followed, as did a string of awards for his TV series like Spin City. Now, though, his future is increasingly defined by Parkinson's disease.
Like I said, this video is by Dave J, so you'll hear him speaking as well as me.
The more you watch this person, the more you understand he is pretending to do this. He is putting on a show for you.
See, I hadn't ever looked at any of these kind of interviews or anything like that. I assume, like most people, you hear, oh, Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's disease. You're like, oh, that's terrible, poor guy, you know. You don't look into it. You don't think anything more of it. But the reason that what helped convince me that it was a true story is that he hasn't done any acting since he got Parkinson's. I'm pretty sure, unless it's just small things. I'm talking about like major roles completely dried up once he got the disease. So you think, well, why would he be faking it if it means that he doesn't get any more acting roles? Well, the answer is in front of you. This is his latest acting role. He's acting on behalf of the medical industry. He's a shill. You know what I mean? They're using him to promote a disease he doesn't have so that people will fund stem cell research, which is blood sacrifice of human babies, be it unborn or otherwise. So, and it tells you right here, Michael J. Fox, actor. That's what he's doing right here.
And the way you know that is by watching the entire act, not just what he wants you to see.
The way he's moving around, it's actually almost snake-like, which of course is appropriate. He's even throwing up the asp, which Trump does. I think that's like a mini 666. For those who don't know, that's you can't really see, but you know what I mean. It forms 3 sixes. The asp is of like a snake biting, you know, poisoning you. I mean, I've pointed this out countless times, but the face, very, very clean looking skin, almost poreless looking, looks CGI, the skin, as does the hair. Face very youthful as a result of being poreless and very, very symmetrical. All tells of reptilians using holograms to appear human.
But the movement, the eyes, perfectly focused now with Ellen DeGeneres. Or not, that's not Ellen DeGeneres.
I think that's Diane Sawyer.
Yeah. She's the other. That's Barbara.
You got to be very careful. You basically have to be perfect when you make videos like this, because if you get anything wrong, people just immediately assume you don't know what you're talking about.
DeGeneres. Another one must have been Barbara Walters. Anyways, with Ellen DeGeneres now, look, now he's going into like this would be Plan B. He's adding in the eye twitching.
So this is like developing his character. You know how, especially like in TV shows, you'll see as time goes on, the character, you know, takes on more traits, more characteristics. This is kind of what he's doing. He's world building his persona of the man suffering Parkinson's.
With the arm twitching and the leg, you know, massaging, you know. Now he's really going. Now he's getting into the big rock and roll maneuver. Now you're thinking, okay, now this guy's all twitching and whatnot. So if
Before watching this too, I thought, okay, I saw this video and I'm like, fair enough. Yeah, it definitely looks fake. That guy definitely looks like he's acting like he has Parkinson's disease. So I went and looked at videos of people with Parkinson's, which was actually hard to find a video of Parkinson's on YouTube that didn't feature Michael J. Fox. I eventually found one, and as far as like all the shaking and mannerisms go, it's very subtle. This, like, what he's doing here is playing it up. Like it seems like a very hammy version of real Parkinson's, from what I saw today.
Onto the ice and see what he looks like on the ice.
So this is interesting. So he's perfectly able-bodied. You saw back there Trump. That's like subliminal advertising.
Nothing wrong with that, Nick.
Like he wasn't. I don't think he was running for president at the time, but he did have a TV show. Most likely airs on the same channel. And it's actually it's fairly apt too that he's pulling this act, you know, of which at any moment could go wrong, you know, and he just happens to be skating on thin ice. But see there, perfectly able-bodied, same as here.
Totally just, come on now. Let's look at that again. Watch him now.
See. He's got Parkinson's. He's meant to be shaking, but he's not. But he is shaking people's hands. So give him that. At least he is shaking people's hands. Oh, did you see that? Hold on.
Go.
The tongue. He did the reptilian tongue flick. Ah, did you see it? I'll get you. I'm good at this. Anyway, you guys know how the pause button works. You figure it out. But yeah, he did the tongue flick too. Anyway, so there you go, perfectly able-bodied. More of his Parkinson's act, which looks more like Stevie Wonder's blind guy act.
Well, it's not always the case. What you do in Missouri matters to many.
Nice touch.
So
hometown touch.
More shilling.
Here he's doing the Rick rolling. All right, the Rick rolling. You can see his eyes are perfectly focused. Now let's go to another.
So the last clip he shows is from David Letterman. He's pretending he has Parkinson's. He's pretending he knows how to host a talk show. So what goes wrong here, according to Dave J, is that one of the ways they diagnose people with Parkinson's is they see if they can touch their own nose. If they can't touch their own nose, then that's one of the ways that they can tell you have Parkinson's. See, I'm looking at him too. He actually looks quite a lot like Tom Cruise, which makes sense because, well, you guys.
Okay, he's going to be doing this little jibber jabber, moving around, shaking, looking all crazy routine. He's about to catch himself in a fib right here. Watch it, and I'll replay it.
The other thing I'm realizing is how these people end up playing these roles. Like with Jay Fox here, and the next one I'll show you is Christopher Reeve. It's most likely because their acting career dried up. At a certain point, this guy is not going to get the roles that he used to because his whole thing was playing young people, right? Because he's short and he looks young. But at a certain point, who's he going to play? Like, he's not going to play the romantic lead. He's not going to be an action star. You know what I mean? It's like the acting roles are dry up. So I imagine what happened here is that the Parkinson's people came to him with the proposition. You know what I mean? You pretend to have Parkinson's. You only have to do like an interview once every 3 years or so. Go out there, shake, do some crazy stuff with your eyes. Say, Parkinson's is a daily nightmare. All that kind of stuff. Please donate to the medical industry. Fund stem cells so I can help other people. Blah blah blah. All that. That's all he has to do, right? He might be an actual good person. He on some level and said, no, that's unconscionable. I couldn't do that. And then they pulled the dump truck full of money up to his house and said, will you do it now? And he goes, well, you know the rest.
Don't show up. I mean, for all the world of science, this is the way we figure out if you have Parkinson's. If you touch your nose...
See, he just did it.
Then
Okay, so he catches himself. See, now he's going to start playing dumb again and hope that you didn't catch that.
But the thing is, Dave J, when you tell this many lies, Your nose gets longer. So maybe before he couldn't touch it, but after lying all these years, you get it. You get the joke.
It's all
So-
you really need to see is this scene.
So anyway,
Dismissed. This is where we figure
and he becomes flustered after that. So to me, that's pretty obvious that he is acting. On to the next liar. We got Christopher Reeve. Now, he says this quote in the interview, any one of us could get hurt at any moment. This is interesting because this is the mentality that they, being the media, reptilians, narcs, psychopaths, this is the mentality that they want real people, empathic people to have. At any moment, you could get hurt, right? They want you to live in a fear state. That's the whole reason behind the news and why all the entertainment these days is just fucking horror movies and, you know, disturbing shit, because they want you living in a fear state. That's where they can control you, manipulate you.
I'm 25 years old and I grew up watching on silver screen.
So this is pretty messed
During
up.
childhood,
This guy, well, okay, most likely is a real person with who is crippled. Oh, okay, Christopher Reeve. So a little backstory on Christopher Reeve. I forgot to get the link ready there. But long story short, he played Superman in the 80s. And then he had a horse riding accident that left him paralyzed from the waist down or whatever it is, right? So which in itself is just a joke, you know what I mean? The man who played Superman, the Invincible Man of Steel, is paralyzed and can't walk. That's a joke. That alone is like the reddest flag you could imagine. But there's another layer to the bullshit here, which I didn't even know about until I watched this clip. So anyway, like I was saying, this guy, most likely actual paraplegic, could be an actor. It doesn't really make any difference. The point is that Reeve is the main shill here. So this guy's coming on telling Christopher Reeve, who's pretending to be a cripple, that he's his hero and his inspiration and shit. I mean, how sick is that?
idol. I now see you as a real life idol, and I hope I can feed off your aggressiveness.
Once again, see the fake CGI looking mask, poreless, fucking perfect looking skin, weird face, perfectly symmetrical, hair perfect, everything fucking, you know what I mean? Doesn't even look human. Looks like an alien, which, I mean, perfect casting choice is Superman, because, you know, that guy's an alien.
See, defeat Cinder. Don't give up. Sincerely, Steve Dirk.
See, people like Christopher Reeve, narcissists, they love this kind of, oh geez, who has Parkinson's now? Sorry, my hand's getting sore. It's not what you think. I've been masturbating. Oh gosh darn it. Okay, sorry. This is, okay, I'll try to keep it still. Hey, hire me, medical industry.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So you hadn't had
Hey, is this in slow motion?
It was 1 month after his
Wow.
just graduated from college.
So anyway, you should hear what Reeve says.
That's so wonderful, thank you. But anything can happen to anybody, you know. I remember the last
That's the script. They kind of paraphrased him here, but, you know.
movie I did, I played a paraplegic.
Okay, I'll go back, because I talked over it. But this is fucking insane.
I played a paraplegic.
Oh, shit, sorry about that.
I remember the last movie I did, I played a paraplegic.
The last movie he did before he became paralyzed, he literally played a paraplegic. Now listen to this part. It's fucking insane.
A movie called Above Suspicion, and I went to a rehab center. And I worked with the people there so I could simulate being a paraplegic.
So to do his last movie role where he played a paraplegic, he worked with people at the Center for People Who Are Paraplegic to learn how to pretend to be a paraplegic. Do you understand what I'm saying? The deal was already done. He just needed to get the training in, play the role, and then, you know what I mean? They put out the false story that he broke his neck riding the horse. And so, but isn't it's also so stupid too that you would need to be trained to play a paraplegic? All he fucking does is sit there. Like, he went to acting training just to learn how to fucking sit there? Talk about easy money. But, oh, that's the other thing I wanted to say. With that story, a lot of times they'll end up blaming nature. They'll end up blaming the innocent because, you know, they're the guilty ones. It's the same thing. They always project, deflect, put the blame on the innocent, you know what I mean? Same with gang stalking and all that stuff. Perps will turn all the good people against good people. Same with that's the MO from these guys too. A lot of the times with their fake stories, you'll know it's a false flag because they blame nature. In the case of him, They blame the horse. It's to create a negative, unconscious association with everything natural, which they hate. So a horse, you know, oh, stupid horse. If it wasn't for horses, Christopher Reeve would still be able to walk. That kind of thing. Similar example, Titanic, which is just basically 9/11 at sea. Done for similar reasons. Controlled explosion on the deck. Kill a bunch of people who knew too much. Massive blood sacrifice. And also on the Titanic, they killed a bunch of immigrants so they couldn't breed, because the immigrants were most likely real people, you know what I mean, with empathy. And they don't want people like that walking around society. So it was a massive culling of the immigrants and of witnesses to corruption. So that's what Titanic was. But again, they always blame nature. So there you go. Christopher Reeve, good guy. This is another funny thing from South Park. Very commonplace for these cartoons to tell the truth about what's really going on.
Tom, I'm standing out front of the stem cell research facility with terrific news. Christopher Reeve, who was once paralyzed, claims that he can now stand. Thank you, everyone.
See, that's telling. He can stand. He's been able to stand the whole time. He only has to sit down when he plays the role of Mr. Paraplegic for the medical industry. And like I was saying about the stem cells, this is the end game. This is why they're doing it. To get people to vote for and fund stem cell research, which is human blood sacrifice.
An ordinary fetus. But to people like me, it's hope.
They also put this shit, I've talked about it before, the baby blood that they do from the blood sacrifices, what they don't use, they put it in fast food like McDonald's, and they also put it in the evil soft drinks like Pepsi. It's called Cenomix. Look it up, Cenomix. It's made from stem cells, aborted baby fetus blood, literally. Yeah, I mean, that's common knowledge. You can literally find that out. It's a fact. They don't want you to know it, like most things, but it is out there. The truth is out there, Scully. So there you go. What he's doing, he basically breaks the baby open and drinks the blood out of its neck. That is apparently what they do in the occult. Blood sacrifice. They sacrifice babies. They cut their heads off and drink the blood. I found a link that will support that claim. So there you go. He does it, and just like Dracula, because vampires are just analogies for reptilians as well. He drinks it, and all of a sudden he has the power to walk. See, he's a hero, just like Caitlyn Jenner, who ran over a bunch of people and ended up getting an award for mutilating his genitalia. You know, what a fucking hero.
Celebrities have spoken
So brave.
in protest of stem cell research, but after seeing this, how can they protest now?
Yeah. So funny too. See, they're just, everyone's so easily manipulated. This is what I'm talking about. These children talking about the blood sacrifice. They talk about some other things. I'll leave the link. It's actually pretty dark. I suppose there should be a trigger warning on it. These children are working with the police. It's a police interview. This was extremely hard to find, this friggin' video. I had to look for like 10 minutes. It was buried. But anyway, I found this because I remember watching it years ago. These two children are from a satanic family where their father does bad things and takes them to rituals where they kill babies. So I'll just go back and I'll show you. This is their testimony, and they are not acting, I can tell.
In the church.
Okay.
What happens in the church?
Okay, the cop who's interviewing them says, and what do they do in the church? The little girl says, they do sacrifices on top of other things, other kind of violations. They do human sacrifices where they cut the baby's head off and drink the blood. I'll go back so you can actually hear it, because it's one thing for me to say, but you have to hear it. I'm going to have to remember to turn this volume down so the whole neighborhood doesn't get a blast of truth. That's the last thing they'd want.
What happens in the church?
And we do sacrifice and eat the baby.
What do you mean sacrifice and eat the baby?
So we kill the baby and eat it and drink the blood.
Kill the baby, drink it, and eat it and drink the blood, she said.
Yes, and we dance with the skulls.
You what?
We dance with the skulls in the church.
Dance with the skulls in the church.
Skulling the baby.
Pardon?
The skulls of the baby.
You dance with the baby skull? And who kills the baby?
Papa, me, and Lisa.
So you even saw the trauma there on her face. See, a lot of these people in these families,
Who killed the
they're not necessarily born bad, but they are forced to do bad things.
baby?
Papa.
Papa kills the babies, they say. Cuts their heads off. and he makes them do it too. He probably guides their hand to do it, just conditioning them for their future. So there's something. I'll leave a link to that. That's if you want to watch the whole thing, it's very, very interesting. That also reminded me of something I've mentioned before. Lorde, they are. Oh, she's so beautiful, so talented. The lyrics to her song "Team." Now this is talking about what those children were talking about. Call all the ladies out there in their finery. 100 jewels on throats, 100 jewels between teeth. Oh, actually, I pointed this out in the song. She was saying, "Send the call out, send the call out, send the call out," and when you play it, it eventually starts saying the cold I was in, the cold I was in, the cold I was in, the cold I was in. It starts doing that. Call all the ladies out, they're in their finery, 100 jewels on throats, 100 jewels between teeth. Now bring the boys in, you know, underage. Their skin in craters like the moon we love like a brother, while he glows through the room. This part. Dance around the lies we tell. Dance around big eyes as well. Even the comatose, they don't dance and tell. They're talking about the fucking ritual sacrifice with the skulls, dancing around with the babies thing. We live in cities you'll never see on screen. Not very pretty, but we sure know how to run things. Now, I understand how this is meant to be interpreted. We live in cities you'll never see on screen. She's saying, what we're meant to think is, she's saying she's from New Zealand, you know what I mean? It's, you know, it's not like a what do you call it? New Zealand isn't, you know, like the be all end all, but cities you'll never see on screen. New Zealand is one of the most filmed fucking places in the world. Not very pretty. See, New Zealand is one of the most beautiful places in the world, but we sure know how to run things. We're not very pretty. She's talking about her own kind. We live in the ruins of Palace Imogen, and you know, we're on each other's team, the Illuminati. So there you go. Now another reason I brought her up is, this is just something, a little aside, I want to point out something that reps do. This is something that you see on them. So there's Lorde. Isn't she gorgeous? That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like in person. Oftentimes you'll see this look on their faces if you confuse them. It's usually like you use emotional intelligence, which they're usually pretty low on. They're good at left brain, reptilian brain, but they're not really good at processing emotional stuff. So you'll see this on their face, and I'll just show you what it looks like when it's not filmed in HD, when it's filmed on a camera, which can, you know, really see what's happening behind the hologram. That's what it will look like in a glitch. Alex Jones. This guy looks like Mike Matei. So that's what you'll see. That's what it looks like as when it's glitching, and that's what your human eyes will see. Okay, so that's usually like when you confuse them. It's just one of their many charming facial tics. Now this last example of person faking an illness, disease, on behalf of the evil medical industry. This guy called Pee Wee Thomas. He got the lightning bolts here. Cancer suck. Get checked if you're worried. So he wants you to get checked. He wants you to go get yourself checked, because that's the whole game. You go in, you get a doctor. A lot of doctors are psychopaths because they gravitate towards any sort of job that gives them power and control, where they can manipulate innocent people. So cancer suck, gets checked if you want. The whole point of this channel is to get people on the chemotherapy, which is what really gives you cancer. All the cancer treatments are what give you cancer. A doctor, if they're psychopathic or bold enough, could literally give you a false diagnosis. Say, unfortunately, you have, I almost said sorry, but that's not in their wheelhouse. Unfortunately, you have cancer. There is good news, though. We can get you started on chemotherapy straight away. Once you start taking the treatment, that's what makes you sick. It's like the Trojan horse thing, you know, the diseases and the cure, that kind of stuff. So there we got Pee Wee Thomas, who's his channel. This guy has since passed on. Now this example is a little different from the others. It's a little more complicated. What I believe was happening here is that there were two guys, there were two twin brothers, right? One of them had cancer, one didn't. It was the good one, the empath brother, who has cancer. I'll just show you the difference. That's the evil. Of course, I'd highlight one that doesn't have a minute. Anyway, you'll just have to look at the pictures. Let's get some focus here. That is the tare. This is the wheat, okay? Now I'll show you the difference. I'll open the videos and I'll show you the difference in their personality and their appearance. This is back-to-back day, and it's consistent like this. What they do is they blend. They do this in the entertainment industry. Like, a lot of famous people are played by twins. It's very common in the industry, especially with child actors, because of union rules and regulations. They're not allowed to employ a child actor all day. So most of the time, when they need an actor who's very young, they will get an actor who is a twin, so that they can use one half the day and the other for the rest of the day. It's a lot more efficient that way. And certain examples, like in the entertainment industry, I believe the Beatles were played by twins. That's why you see different ones. That whole Paul is dead thing is like, it's true, but it's not. It's very similar to this. It's like, yes, Pee Wee Toms is dead now, but his twin brother isn't. You know what I mean? So I'll just show you this. This is the real Pee Wee Toms. Of course, we're going to get an ad from our sponsor here. Look at this organic portal. All right. So this is the guy who really has cancer. His family are tares, psychopaths, and I believe that this man, was used as a blood sacrifice. And obviously also because they were given millions of dollars by the medical industry to promote cancer awareness, you know. But you'll see that this man is sick. You'll see that he has blood flowing through his veins. You can see he's got light in his eyes, and he's just not a prick. He's just not a dickhead. So that's the real guy, as far as I can tell. And this, my friends, is...
Right, so I'm back again.
This is like a day or two after the last video. Look at the difference. He's wearing glasses too, because it's like one thing they work with is plausible deniability. It's so that, you know, you can't prove that they're wrong, or you can't prove that this guy's guilty. I mentioned the Beatles before. Good example of when the real Paul or one of the Pauls died, and you get the fake one. The first time he appears, he's got a mustache. You know what I mean? So if anyone were to say, "Oh, you look different, Paul," he goes, "Well, it's just because I grew my mustache." You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Plausible deniability. He's wearing the glasses, so it's like, "Hey, Tom, you look a little different today." Oh, it's just the glasses. That shit.
I've got this urge to do that once again for the...
See, he's got duping delight. All of a sudden, he's full of pep. Fucking... Just his eyes don't... they're not full of light. You know what I mean?
Mass on D4 damage on power to the people.
He's just an attention fucking whore.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to avoid doing that at all costs because I don't think it's...
See, his eye contact just isn't sincere. He's a liar. You can tell this guy's a fucking liar. You can also tell he's not sick.
So, yeah. I spent all day doing animation and kind of expressing myself through...
Yeah, he loved this. He didn't give a shit about his brother fucking dying. So anyway, you go through it, and like I'll just show you these examples. Like most of the videos are the tear brother. Here's another example of the tear.
But yeah, but I'll hide it for you.
Yeah, he reminds me of David Brady. He's such a prat.
In quite a lot of pain.
Oh, I'm in quite a lot of pain actually.
But I'll hide it for you because that's what I do.
Such a fucking wank. So there you go. That's the tear. That's the real guy. Like I said, these were made within days of each other, and they switch back and forth like this. It's not just, you know, when you have cancer, you have your good days and bad days. I understand that's a thing. But again, that's the plausible deniability. After a certain point, the real Dan, the real Pee Wee Toms became so sick, they only used him because they couldn't use the other guy because he was fat and, you know, just had too much dickhead energy, big dickhead energy. So after a certain point, once he was definitely dying, deteriorating, they only used the real Dan, and that's when the real, you know, that's when the real game started. I'll show you. It's fucking sad too. I'll show you the very last video of him. Like I said, his family were tares. They just basically used him, blood sacrificed him, like Cain and Abel. You know what I mean? Kill the good one. He's not acting, you know. He can't. So when I watched this, I cried. I legitimately cried. This is fucking sad. This is the real guy who really had cancer. But there you go. That's the real Pee Wee Toms. A good man. That's the real Pee Wee Toms. Good man. Now, and I think that was him too. But Anyway, this is interesting. This is an article because I did my research on this guy, and there's a lot of people talking about how he was a real dickhead. I don't believe that the real guy who you saw at the end was the dickhead. They're talking about the brother. And this is very interesting, very telling. Over the years, I'm sure numerous people would say, I am many different people. There you go. I am many different people, at least 2 people. So they'll always admit it. They'll always tell the truth. They're like Bond villains. They can't fucking help but brag about their crimes. So who am I? Seriously, who I am. So there you go. Over 30 minutes. Well, hopefully this one was good. Hopefully you found it interesting, learned something, or at the very least were reminded of things you always knew. Hope you have a good one. Sean Stone out. Truth Dog out. Woof woof.